you actually leave for Australia?
Saturday.
Oh, that's real early. Trying to get acclimated to the time zone.
Time zone, just different. You never know what to expect going to a different country, so just want to head out there, check out the landscape, and just make sure everything's right.
You bring the whole team out there?
Well, bringing my guys from Arizona, Chance for Terrell Hunsinger. I'm also bringing Rafael, of course, and Arthur Strazula, another.
For the whole 3 weeks or whatever?
2 weeks,
2 weeks? Yeah. Is that expensive?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think people don't realize like that when you go to a different time zone or in Mexico City. I know you've fought there before.
Yep.
Get the whole team. It costs money, does it not?
It costs a lot of money.
Can you give us a ballpark figure about how much it costs?
It doesn't matter.
But these are necessary steps you need to take.
These are super necessary steps. Yeah, I mean, the UFC only covers my fight week, so I got to cover the other week, and some other expenses as well.
And if you want to be the best, probably got something to be in the fight. You have to take these measures.
Right, I need them. This fight especially is critical. I need my whole team there helping me out. Whatever I need, they help me out, man. Yeah, it's crucial that I bring my whole team.
The Ultimate Fighter, I think that a lot of people saw more of you. Not just a different side of you, I think, because that side's always been there, but you had the leadership, you had the advice that you were giving Maurice or
Sure.
You were like kind of the one that was kind of like mentoring these guys.
Yeah.
Like, how do you think that does for, I hate to use the word brand, but your brand.
I'm sorry?
How does that do for your profile, the way people look at you?
I don't know, man. I was just being me, you know what I mean? And I was just trying to help these guys out the way that I was helped out, trying to mentor them the way that Chael did and his team, and I kind of just try to implement that, you know what I mean? I in my experience, the way that Chael and his team ran that whole camp for my tough was the way that I try to emulate it for that tough as well, and it worked out great, man. I felt like the whole team environment was just as good as it was in my season, so it worked out great.
Do you think people underestimate you, they say fight IQ, like how much you know about fighting? Because I think when you came into the UFC, you were, you overran people, but now do you think that there's more to you from the mental game?
Definitely. I mean, I've been fighting in the UFC for 7 years, and there's no other way to be successful than to learn and to grow and to expand your mind and to really just grow and embrace this life. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here, man. I wouldn't be fighting for the title. You know what I mean? I would have been down and out.
Has it really been 7 years?
2013?
You're all grown up now.
right before your eyes, right?
What was it like? You went down to Australia. I guess it was a month ago or a month plus ago, right?
Something like that, yeah.
PR down there. What was it like, kind of being with them? You were with them during the show. You're with them again during the PR thing. Is that weird being in so close proximity to
You know what? We had to deal with each other. I mean, he's a pretty civilized guy, and I'm pretty laid back myself. But there's always that little tension, you know. You're gonna fight each other, and it's just like you don't want to be around more than you have to. He was professional, and we did the work that we had to, but didn't want to stay more than we had to together, And when I went to Australia, same civilized interactions, but nothing more than we had to. You know what I mean? We I don't know. It's just this weird little energy between him and I, because we know we're gonna fight each other.
Right. There was that thing a few months ago that he didn't like that you said about him he's been through a lot of wars and he may not be the same guy. He was a little upset about that. Did he say anything to you when you guys were together?
He's never said anything. No.
Kelvin, you obviously referenced fighting Chris Weidman in his house, Jacare in Brazil. What's the biggest thing you took from those experiences in enemy territory that's going to help you in Australia for Whittaker?
Yeah, like I said, I've been in this position before where I'm not the hometown guy. I go out, fought Jacare in Brazil, in Rio, fought Weidman literally in his backyard in Long Island, fought in Fortaleza against Vitor. I mean, this is not the first time I've been in this kind of position, and the biggest thing that I take away from it is just that I can thrive in these kinds of environments. You know what I mean? I mean, I lost against Weidman, but I don't mind being under this kind of pressure.
You You did media obviously in Australia. How did the fans receive you when you saw them out there and just, you know, they knew you're obviously going to fight their guy, but
Yeah.
how did they treat you?
Yeah, real civilized, real respectful, nothing too crazy. I mean, Australians love fight, and they love the UFC, so it was pretty cool.
Calvin, when's going to be your time? I mean, you talked about going to New York for Weidman, Brazil for, and then obviously now Australia. Just when getting the belt, you could make it LA, even, you know, Mexico
Title
City,
defense. Title defense will have to be in LA or it'll have to be in Vegas, man, where my family can actually come watch me fight.
I was going to say, you got to get your turn, right, as champ?
That's right, my man.
Well, when you envisioned the fight and the fight ending, like KO, submission, obviously you're well-rounded all around, but like
Yeah.
your heart of hearts was going
Well, I feel like, I mean, like Rob's not one of those guys that kind of looks for the takedowns. You know, he's not one of those guys that does, and neither am I. Although I do have wrestling abilities, I do have abilities on the ground. We're not two guys that look for that takedown. We're going to look to box, we're going to look to exchange, and we're going to look to knock each other out. So, I'm predicting first round knockout, but you know, you never know.
As a fighter, you're fighting someone like that, like you said, you're fighting someone who's going to bang with you, who's going to. Is that a little more exciting than kind of having, okay, I got to wrestle this guy?
It's exciting. It's exciting, but at the same time, you can't ever count on just that. You know what I mean? But it's exciting knowing that he's gonna want to, you know, exchange, and hopefully it's an exciting fight. I mean, I've been watching Rob for a long time now. Even before he was champion, I was like, this is a guy that's gonna be a fun fight for me, you know. And I feel like it's a fight that I can win, that I know I can win. So I still feel the same way.
Going back to his fight with Romero, he took a lot of damage in that fight. And you said that maybe seeing someone take a lot of damage, does that give you sort of hope, like, I can hit this guy, or do you look and think, well, he's got a lot of heart, I'm going to have to really go deep to beat this guy? Which is
It's both, man. You know what I mean? I know that I can, if I clip him, I mean, anybody in the world. It's not just Rob. Anybody that I clip my left hand in is going down. But yeah, I mean, Rob has a lot of heart, man. I mean, I'm expecting a hard fight, but at the same time, I'm so prepared for this opportunity that I'm expecting it not to even be close.
do you think a fighter can only have so many of those fights before one day they just wake up and they're not the same?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, even me, these 7 years have taken a toll on my body, and especially, and I've never had those kinds of fights. I mean, Jacare was, but not to where I've had like a bloody, messy, gorging fight where I was bleeding. No, I've never had those type of battles where I broke anything, I broke an ankle, or I broke a hand. Thankfully, I've been very, very blessed to be healthy throughout my career.
Sometimes you hear fighters saying they want one of those fights. Do you not? Would you rather avoid them?
I'm sorry?
Sometimes you hear fighters saying they want the war, they want to get in those. Are you trying to avoid that for as long as
Yeah, I was laughing backstage and after my fight with Jacare, just like, oh my God, what a war that was. Even though I wasn't like physically beat up, or I was, but you could see it facially. I mean, I was okay. But that was one of the hardest fights that I've ever had. I mean, it was just back and forth, back and forth. I dropped him, then he got up, and then started rocking me, and then I got him. So it was a war, man. I was just backstage like, oh man, that was fun. You know what I mean? I enjoyed it.
What do you learn about yourself as a fighter, as a person, when you have those knockdown fights like you had with Jacare?
Oh man, a lot. No, not really. Well, to be honest, I learned a lot about myself because I had one of my conditioning coaches begging me to pull out of that fight because just weeks prior to that fight, I had my ankle swelled up like a grapefruit. You know what I mean? And I wasn't able to train on it, wasn't able to train properly on it for the last few weeks of that camp against Jacare, and he wanted me. One of my coaches wanted me to pull out, but I said no way, man. We're gonna go in there, and figure it out somehow. And so I did. You know, I went in there maybe at 70 something, percent. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't in great shape for that fight, and somehow I just managed to pull it out.
Why did you persevere?
Because it's my job. You know what I mean? This is what I do. It's my job.
What did you learn about yourself? Would you say after, or do you think that's something necessary fighters have to go through?
No, not at all necessary. I was just being stupid. But at the same time, you do learn about yourself. You learn that you can adapt to certain situations, and that I have a lot more heart and will than I thought.
Does it give you confidence in going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was me at not even 100%. Now imagine, against Jacare's 100%. Now imagine me at 100% going into this fight. I'm super ready for this fight. Everything's way ahead of schedule. I'm so excited for this opportunity, guys.
How do you envision this one going?
I'm predicting a first round knockout.
You don't often do that. You don't often predict things like that.
No, never.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I put in so much work, and I feel so confident in my abilities and confident in what I've done in the sport that I'm predicting the first round knockout.
It's a long wait. It's been a long time since you fought last. I know the show and everything.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, can we just get this?
I'm tired of talking about Rob Whittaker. Yes, let's get this fight going.
What's going on with you and Ben Askren? You and Ben Askren going back and forth on
Who?
Twitter. Not a fan. Not
Who's
a fan,
that?
I guess. You know,
No,
hair, curly hair,
Jerry Curls?
Maybe.
No, I don't know.
He's
I
taking
think,
shots at you.
yeah, because I had said something about Tyron Woodley, and then I guess he was trying to defend him.
Is that a fight for you in the future?
That guy's not even on my radar. I don't even know who he is.
In the co-main event, you've obviously got Israel versus Anderson. One of those could potentially be fighting you for a world title. Are you even paying attention to that fight as a future thing, or are you just focused on?
Yo, I'm looking at the whole division. I mean, you got guys like Bohachina, you guys got like Stylebender, you got Rob Whittaker, who's, he's still gonna be in the mix. He's not gonna go anywhere after the fight. You know what I mean? And then you still got Yoel Romero in the mix. Like, the champion of this division has got his work cut out for him in the next few fights, and I plan to do just that. You know what I mean? Bring a little bit more of legitimacy to the division. You know what I mean? For a little while, it was a little, just then an interim title, and then, yeah. So I want to be able to bring the guy, or be the guy that brings legitimacy to the division.
When you look at Anderson and Israel, would you rather, if you had the choice, would you rather face a young gun like yourself, so you can have both guys in their prime, or would you rather face a future Hall of Famer like Silva?
Shoot, well, the fight with Silva has already been we tried to make it twice. It didn't happen. So and that fight was just the fight for me to be able to get the title shot or get closer up in the ranks, and that's really what I wanted. So fighting Silva doesn't really do anything for me, to be honest, other than him being, a GOAT and me beating the GOAT. That would be the only thing. But as far as moving up the ranks, as far as getting a title shot, beating him, like I'm already in the position where I want to be.
Tyron Woodley said, I think earlier this week or last week, that a few more fights at welterweight and then middleweight by the end of 2019. How badly would you want that fight again?
I welcome it. I've been calling him out for years.
Yeah.
I've been wanting that fight since I fought him.
Right.
And finally, he's like, yeah, yeah. He's turning around. All right. It's taken a while, but he's turning around on the idea finally, huh?
Like, it'll be a super fight, He's coming out as welterweight champ. You could be the middleweight champ after a few weeks from now.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big one.
Yeah. I welcome it. Let's do it.
Your boxing's been on another level the past few fights. Why do you think your boxing works in a division where you're pretty much the smallest guy in the division, right?
Yeah.
How does it, people would think you should be taking people down.
Yeah. I just figured out how to make my disadvantages into advantages. I'm short, I'm stocky, but I'm fast, and I hit hard.
Do you feel like is it in your head that you're the smallest guy in the division, so to speak?
For sure.
So you go into every fight. So what's the mentality versus when you were fighting people that were closer to your size?
It's just a little harder. It's just a little harder to grab these guys and kind of control them a little bit more, but that's why I train hard, man, and I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to hold the job off.
Was it easy to be patient knowing that you're waiting for a title shot? Obviously, you haven't fought in a few months. Or was it difficult when you see your guys like Henry Cejudo put in great performances, Yair Rodriguez? Was it easy to just step aside and just watch? In terms of like just being on the sidelines, you know, did you get anxious with such a long layoff waiting?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, like I said, I had some lingering injuries that I had, and so the time off was actually perfect. You know, I had some things that were bothering me since the Tim Kennedy fight. So I was actually glad that I took some time off and took care of these little nagging injuries that I've had for a long time. And, man, I'm healthy.
Calvin, you talked about how you had that ankle injury prior to Sakura in Brazil. That was obviously your contender. You're moving up. You knew that was a big fight. That was going to push you
Right.
closer to the title shot. Being a champion, though, if you were to have the belt in that scenario, do you feel that obviously you still want to fight, you still got that fighter in you, but there's a little more at stake? I would say, at that point, is that still kind of the same attitude as, no, we're still fighting, or are you kind of, well, I'm the champ, let me kind of have people wait for me?
It just depends, man. It just depends on the situation. At that time when that happened, I just felt like I was able to, well, I was hoping I would be able to get over the injury, but it never really did get over it. But still fought with it, figured it out, and pulled the win out. You know what I mean? Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But it just depends on the situation, man. I mean, when I'm champion, I mean, like I said, I want to be an active champion. I don't want to be waiting around a whole year just to fight. I want to fight consistently. I want to bring legitimacy to the middleweight division and beat the best guys in this division.
You said that you'd like to fight at welterweight again. Do you still feel that way? Or are you way past wanting to go back to welterweight?
That's always in the back of my head, yeah. That's always in the back of my head. But now my focus is on middleweight, the title, and defending the title.
Kelvin, what would your motivation be to go back to welterweight? Like, if you win a world title at middleweight, it would suggest that that's your weight. Why ever go put your body through that?
I'm basically already at 185 right now. Man, I'm so far ahead of schedule in my weight that, like, because I've made these changes for this camp, and it's just been so beneficial for me, for my weight, for my lifestyle, for my training. I mean, I'm basically on 186 right now, and so 170 in the future I don't think will be a problem.
Could you see yourself going down and challenging Woodley after defending?
Well, he said he wants to move up a weight and come up and challenge me, and I welcome him.
Do you think you're actually a better fighter at 170, or do you think you're a better fighter at 185?
I'm a lot happier at 185, so I think at middleweight.
Fair. Speaking of the moving down, so obviously TJ lost to Henry Cejudo. What were your thoughts on that? On that fight, was obviously some were saying it was too early.
Right.
So, just what were your thoughts on that whole thing?
I felt it was a good stoppage. It was a little early. I think it was a little early, but it was a good stoppage because I felt like, man, it would have been more of the same. 5-10 seconds of more brain damage. You know what I mean? I mean, TJ was on Henry's single leg. He had a single leg on Henry while Henry was hammer fisting him. You know what I mean? And on an Olympic gold medalist, I don't think he was ever going to get that takedown, you know?
How much do you still love Cheetos?
That was just some fun that me and my buddy Adam came up with, man. That was fun.
I know a lot of people like to psychoanalyze fighters, like why did they get into something like fighting? Anything about your background or growing up that you think made you, not the man that you were, but the fighter that you were?
Oh, man, it's just interesting looking back at it now, how I always wanted to play fight my cousins, and I always made them cry. And how all my aunts hated me because I would beat up my cousins. And then as I got older, I had the Power Rangers, and I wanted to be a Power Ranger for a long time. And but at the same time, like growing up, I never thought like, oh, I'm gonna be a pro fighter. Like that was never in my mind. Not until I was like 17, 18, where I had already been training for some time. But now looking back, like I always loved fighting. You know what I mean? I beat my cousins up. But and just loved play fighting and wanted to be a Power Ranger and wanted to be the White Ranger and just wanted to fight.
You're capable of being like you're smiling and saying things that sound a little evil. We're saying like
Yeah, man, I can be a little sick sometimes.
What do your aunt and cousins say now?
Oh, they love me now. They're all about it now.
They're glad you practiced on that.
Yeah. They're all about it now.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.